Press Start Podcast.
And welcome back to the Press Start Podcast. I'm your host, Vic, aka Mr. Never Chillin'. This is episode number 159, and this week I'm joined by Roger, aka Lunatic Oblivion. What's up, bro?
Hello and welcome back, guys. Let's just get straight to it and let's talk about this week's game.
Yeah, man.
Split Fiction, man.
Yeah, I'm actually eager to hear it. I haven't been able to play it. Me and Lauren, I'm trying to convince Lauren to play it. She said she's willing to give it a go, but we'll see how that ends up being.
Oh my god, dude. Let me just tell you right now. I have Jordan about to break a controller, but she's like, I want to play this. And I'm like, okay, but you gotta be faster. And she's like,
Okay, I'm trying.
So it's one of those games. It definitely I gotta say I'm in love with it right now. It is super fun.
Yeah, it looks like it. I mean, it's reviewing really well too. It's actually the highest rated game of the year already.
Yeah, the developer said, I'm excited. I'm hoping to be in Game of the Year talks this
Mhm.
year, but let's be honest, GTA 6 is coming out and I'm just as big of a fan for GTA 6. So I wouldn't be upset if they win. I just want to be named. It's like,
Yeah.
fair enough, my man, fair enough.
I wouldn't be surprised if this game is easily in the top 6 games
Oh yeah.
for Game of the Year. I mean, as of right now, I think you can solidify 3 with Split Fiction, Monster Hunter Wilds, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I mean, those are just my opinion, just from the
Yeah.
reviews I'm seeing and whatnot. Because like actually, real quick on Monster Hunter Wilds has nothing to do with playing the game. I'm literally sitting here pre-podcast messing with my cards, right? And I get a notification on my phone, Microsoft transaction, $74.19 or whatever it was. And I'm like, did I pre-order a game and it just come out or something? No. Turn around, look on the couch. My daughter has the Xbox controller in her hand.
Bought Monster Hunter
Bought
Wilds for
Monster
you.
Hunter Wilds for me. Yep. Then
Refund.
don't plan on playing it, or maybe I'll give it a go now that I bought it. But yeah, I thought that was pretty hilarious. I was like, well, I know. I mean, we try not to leave the controller sitting there because we know that she knows how to turn it on and do all that stuff. But like the fact that she was just sitting there like a, and somehow bought Monster Hunter Wilds is beyond me, But I was like, all right. I was like, you couldn't buy a game for like $5 or like Assassin's
You
Creed
need to-
Shadows where I want to play the game.
You just got to put a pin on the thing. That's all I'm saying. Where's the parental controls, man?
No, I took all that off because it's just ease of access, like just being able to buy. But yeah, I know like
there you
whenever
go.
she like gets older and she wants to use the controller and play the game, like all of the parental controls are definitely gonna go on the system. You're not buying shit on my card today. Like I'm so glad it was my I have 2 cards. Like I have my bank card and then I have my Apple Cash card where it's just like just spending money on that card, and that's the one that she would use that used, and I was like, thank goodness, because otherwise the other account might not have done so well. But yeah, that was just a quick comment I want to make on that. I thought that was pretty hilarious there. But yeah, man, let's talk about a game that we both been playing though this week, and we were kind of just talking about it before the show started. But that's Avowed, and like I said, I've been dumping a ton of hours in. Like between last week's episode and where I'm at now, I think I'm about 16 hours in, 17 hours in. Like that's a dramatic difference compared to last year, especially for me who don't play a ton of hours at one time. But I just been having that niche is like when I'm at work, I'm thinking about Avowed. When I'm not playing Avowed, I'm
Mhm.
like, damn, I'm wishing playing Avowed. Like Avowed just I don't know, man. It's there. Like I'm genuinely invested trying to figure out what is going on. Like I love the the story of your character is you're trying to investigate the Dream Scourge. I'm curious in that, but I'm also curious like the voice that's in your head, like bringing you back to life after dying. Like what the fuck is going on? But like just being invested in your companions have been pretty dope too. Like Kai, like in the
Mhm.
Zone 2 when you take him to that cabin in the woods where his friend lived, and like he just needed closure because his friend died, and then you find that the little whale
Yeah,
pendant
and
and
let's
stuff
not
like that.
spoil it too much for
Yeah.
people, but like, yeah, you go in there. I gotta say, Avowed, it started off great. Then it kind of dragged a little bit at the beginning of World 2. Like you get dropped back into a new world and you're like, here we go again. And like running around, grabbing all your quests, jumping back into the story, of a
Mhm.
new zone. It had such a perfect ending at the end of Zone 1. You talk with your companions, like it felt like a nice wrap up to
Mhm.
an arc of the story.
Yeah.
And then I started Zone 2 and I was like, I really can't get into it. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I find myself all the whole way around the map, and I'm like,
It-
huh.
yeah, and like zone 2 is like double the size of zone 1. At least that's what it feels like. I'm like, man, that shit's massive. I'm not gonna
I
lie.
I honestly, I just feel much more murder hobo-y in the second area
Oh
than in
yeah,
the first. Like,
yeah,
I'm sitting there like, yeah, trying to be a good guy.
yeah. Because
Second zone, I'm just like, I walked into one area and I'm just like, pow, 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 pow. Oh, they're friendly. Oops.
oops.
Reload.
Yeah. So that mission where you have to like get the heart of whatever, and there's two ways that you can like do that mission. Like you can apparently like sneak your way in and talk to your queen and she'll give it to you. And you
Yeah,
don't.
that's what I fucking did.
You
I
did that,
walked in and I did it the quiet way.
Well, congratulations, not me. I went murder hobo and I killed every single person. I got to him. I'm talking to her and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'll give it to you." Wait a minute, you killed all of these people, and I'm like, she was like, "No, I'm not having it. We're fighting, and we fucking duke it out." And I'm like, "Well, oh well." Like I don't even care. Like
Yeah.
and the one time, like there was like three of them. Like they weren't hostile or anything. They were like meditating around the rock, and like I went over there and like clicked on their rock, and I guess I stole their rock, and they didn't like it, and they started to attack me, and I was like, "Well, well,
Guess you're dying. Like,
yeah."
no, honestly, I feel as the game does a good job. I think the biggest problem for me is by the second zone, I was like, ah, cool, something to read. Click, click, click. I just keep clicking through the
Yep.
side dot,
I don't
like
even
the
read them.
side. And I just hate that about myself that I can't even focus on the lore anymore. I'm just like, there's too much. There's too many pieces of paper, and half of them don't matter, and half of them don't mean anything. It's just like random garbage about
Hmm.
Joe Schmo in his cabin that won't be relevant to anything else. And I'm like, I get it. It's so well thought out, but there's just too much garbage.
Yeah. Yeah, there's way like and like the difference between like you can pick up a book and it just says lore or whatever and you can close. But then there's some of them you pick up it's a book, but it's like add to your inventory or your library or whatever and I'm like why can't you just do that with all of them and then like be able to go back and read this stuff later? All of it. Like
Yeah, like spooky out here is like, you found a note. It's about a cabin. Yeah, let me summarize that. Dream Scourge. Okay,
yeah.
moving on. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. You're right. Because like half the notes you find is like, yeah, day one. I have these weird dreams. Day 7, I started stabbing my friend in the eye. Okay, cool. Dream
Yeah.
Scourge, moving on.
But
Okay.
apparently there is a lot of lore connecting it to like the Pillars of Eternity games and stuff like that. So like
Oh yeah,
people
because it
that are
is.
big time, yeah, I know it's part of the same like world, but it's like if you have not played those games, none of it's really going to matter to you. But like if you did play those games, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, yeah, I remember that. I remember this happening and shit like that. And you're like, okay. But like I was just like, yeah, it's too much. I don't even read it. Like and it's like a whole paragraph. I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. Like you pull me out of the action to read something. I'm not playing
Yeah,
a visual novel.
that's the biggest problem for me. And it's like, if it mattered, like it's like, oh, go find out what happened to this person in this cabin. And you're like, and you start to read a thought felt story. Like if it was like, go, let's learn about Kai's friend in the cabin, and like you
Mhm.
find a note and like you read the note. Like I read the stuff in the cabin,
Mhm.
but then you have other ones where it's like Joe Schmo's cabin on the off the water, and you're like, okay, what do I find here? And he's like, I went crazy and killed people. The end. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That was all right.
And I don't
I
like
just
when you walk into some areas, right? And there's like books everywhere, notes everywhere. You can like they just overload areas. Like if it was like one or two, I might think about reading it. But if I walk in there and I see like 20 of them, I'm not reading them. I'm just
hmm
not. Like that's
yeah,
just
it's
you're
just
over.
sometimes it's too much.
Yeah, doing it way too
And
much.
I think the biggest thing that finally stuck with me, like in the first zone, you kind of, if
Exactly,
you don't
Spooky Crew.
realize, yeah,
At
left
least he has
behind
some
some sticks
sticks
to upgrade with.
to
Yeah,
upgrade. Yes,
yeah,
thank
like
goodness.
cool. There was some materials, but like I think the biggest downside of this game for me, progression wise, was like you hit a level and all of the enemies instantly become harder, and you have to have better weapons and better armor to deal with them. Like it just felt like there was this like you're like straight, level up, plateau, straight,
Uh,
level up, plateau, and it keeps the difficulty doesn't scale nicely. It just boop, doop, boop, boop, boop.
yeah.
It's like
Apparently, it
literally
also
step.
has something to like a lot to do with like how you're leveling your gear because I noticed I was doing some research because I experienced it like one time I was like why am I not doing damage and it's like I was trying to evenly upgrade all of my equipment and I'm like this is not going to be good because you're also going to get to a point where you're not going to have enough supplies to upgrade your actually mostly used equipment to then do the damage that you need. So you are going to hit like a fucking brick wall. So I learned that and I'm like, my main shit, my wand and my grimoire are getting maxed out as quickly as possible.
Oh,
My
so you're a mage, are you?
which is different. Like I don't ever really play with magic and like range like that kind of. I'll use like bow and arrow or guns and like when we play D&D and
Hmm.
shit. But like playing magic, like you said, is a completely different take for me. But I've been thoroughly enjoying it. But like my secondary thing is a axe with a shield,
Hmm.
and I rarely fucking use it. So like I started to
I
realize there's
dumped
no
it. I
reason
have,
to
yeah,
keep it upgraded at the same pace as the wand and the grimoire. Like it just doesn't make sense. And then also
I
keeping making
dumped
sure
that
like
shit.
your I use medium armor, and I just make sure that that's maxed out at all times. All times.
Hmm. Yeah, no, you dump the secondary equipment and you just run your main equipment unless you're like a melee style character and you want to swap out between fire and ice or something stupid. But like you focus on your main set of equipment and you're like, I don't care about the secondary equipment. And it's like the levels do matter, Spooky, but it's only to determine what type of gear you need. Because like you hit that level and all of a sudden all the enemies have different gear restrictions, and you're like, well, this sucks. This
Yeah.
sucks a
The
lot.
only thing that the levels really matter is like being able to get your tribute points for your new
Well, yeah,
abilities and
but
stuff like that, and then also
yeah.
the like your might and your charisma and your constitution and stuff like that. Like I usually tend to go like my might up to just increase damage because I have like I feel like I have unlimited fucking health items. I don't know about you. I'm not like I'm
Mhm,
least worrying about healing myself. Period. And then having Giada, which is my new companion from Zone 2, she can heal
mhm.
you. So it's like healing is like least of my worries. So like boost the attack and my essence, so I can constantly throw magic at people. It's a wrap. Like I don't even care about anything else.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great game. I just think there's a lot of scaling issues at times. Like it its progression is weird. I think the game's really well thought out. I it took me a little bit for it to really sink in that like the decisions you make are literally like if you just want to make up shit in the middle of the game, it's now fact. Like
Yeah,
I didn't know this, but like the big bad lady of the game, you can literally be her ex-lover. Like you just in one of the things
yeah,
you talk to somebody about her being your ex-lover, and it's now fact. It is factual, and she will treat you
yeah,
that way. And you're like,
yeah. Most people like believe what you have to say because you are the emperor's
yeah,
like right hand
but
man or
but it's
woman.
not that they just believe you. It's fact. It's not that it's just like you believe me whatever I tell you. No, no, no. The game will take a look at what you've said and it becomes factual.
Yeah, heard of it
Yeah,
before.
there you go. Like, and that's and that's the crazy thing. Like, I think this game, it didn't really prepare me when I first started that like anything I say becomes a matter of fact. Like the
Hmm.
fact it took me a while for me to realize that like when you're talking with the spirit inside of your head,
Hmm.
whatever you say it's factual. Like it tells you about your past. You literally just it's choose your own adventure, and
More or
you
less,
literally
yeah.
write your own story, and whatever you say becomes fact and will influence the game.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you're in that realm of talking to that voice in your head, like you're you're talking like before everything happens, and you're like laying, like you said, like you're creating your own
Hmm.
adventure, and like you're laying the lands, and it's just like some of the stories that are being told while you're talking to is like shit that really happened, like that was what you did, like that's what you chose to happen, and that's what's going to happen, like you said,
And
it
you're
becomes
just
fact.
and it's only just dialogue, and it
Hmm.
but it influences the whole story. It took me till the second zone for that to really sink in, and the game all of a sudden became a lot more fun to me because I was able to now, when I said something, realizing that it is just fact.
Hmm. So
It's crazy to me because it actually means your dialogue choices truly do change the game.
in your dialogue choices, how do you typically tend to play? Because I know, like in my choices, like I'm trying to be very diplomatic, because I am a noble sire or scion, whatever it was at the beginning. So I'm trying to like role play in that thing where like nobles are here to help and be the good guy and whatnot. So like that's how I do. But I know a lot of the options, like you can lie, you can just go in and attack people right away, like fuck
Hmm.
you. Like how do you typically go about with your dialogue?
Uh, I try to be the word of wise. Like I try to come into things, diplomatically, but also at the same time, like, hey, you said something. Let me just talk down to you because I know what I'm talking about, and maybe you don't. It feels weird in those
Hmm.
moments where I'm like, I want to be I run my characters like a know-it-all, but also like I try not to be a douche about it. I just like
I'd be a
somebody says
douche.
something hot, like super like intelligent and something that is like a high like a high intelligence concept. And
Hmm.
you're like, yeah. I talked about this, blah blah blah, and they're like, oh, so you know about animancy? And I was like, I dabbled, and they're like, that's so cool, and I'm like,
Hmm.
cool. Now my character technically dabbled in animancy.
Speaking matter of factly.
Yeah, like just
Even
yeah,
though
I
it's
know what you're
banned
talking
and
about.
the what is the land that you come from starts with an A. I butcher
Yeah.
the word when they say it like Adir or whatever.
Hmm.
Because like that's prohibited in that land, and like that's why they don't like really agree with it being in the living lands that's what they do there. But yeah, oh, got some.
Double
Yeah,
sign, get some prime douche
no, no,
dialogue.
no doubt. Like when you're speaking to people, it's like you're just speaking like straight down at them. Like I am king, bitch. Like that's how I feel when I'm talking to people.
It's thumb on
Yeah,
people.
that
Like
is exactly how it goes. But it's like I try to be like stern but very diplomatic. Like I would rather not fight you, but I feel like I always end up fights because I'm just being like an asshole. Like I am right, you were wrong, and they're like, "No, you're not. Fuck you." And now we're fighting. I'm like, "Okay, here we go. Now you got to die. Didn't want to
the
kill you."
Clemson Chiefs. And like there are moments where like I want to be the good guy who like I want to be the guy who follows the rules. Like I don't want to just like make up the rules as I go, but at the same time I'm like, there are some laws that I'm not here to enforce. I don't care about your drug abuse. Like
Right? Yeah.
I don't think this drug is a problem. Like that was one choice I made, but on another choice I'm like you tried to kill me. So you need to stand trial for that.
Hmm.
Like yes, I'm not dead, but I technically did die
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
yes, magic
So what?
still
Yeah, with
exists
the
in the world.
assassin. So
Yeah.
you chose to
So
have him
like I
stand
don't want
trial.
to well I don't want to spoil too much, but like the
Hmm.
idea is like I want to do what I think is right,
Yeah.
but almost at the same time there's times where you're like, there could be good come from this choice and it's like,
Right.
no,
Yeah,
no.
because
You
what I did with that, I actually chose to let him go.
you get a better ending in a sense.
Yeah,
Like
I
to get the best ending, you actually have to decide to make the choice that isn't like, you know,
Yeah, because like the
like
game is also like
revenge or
really big about second chances. Like I've noticed that, like
Mhm.
you dying and come back and like was a second chance. Like the person who killed you,
I
you giving him a second chance. Like there's multiple like
yep.
different ways of on that being on display and stuff like that.
Debatable.
So yeah, I'm like I thought about it, I was like, but like what in the end like in the big battle or like the big ending like he comes and helps me out and change. He was like, you let me go. I'm here to fight by your side now because
Mhm.
like the reasoning that he was given was like I don't want to spoil nothing. I mean, I could talk
Yeah,
about
and
this shit.
that's the thing. It's only a few weeks old, and I
Yeah.
don't want to like get into it. But once we beat the game, at that point, I think, we just tag it spoilers.
Oh no,
Hey, we're
because
gonna
we are
talk
going to do
about
that
about.
review episode like we were supposed to do
Yeah,
with Sniper Elite, but we can do like a spoiler cast episode where people are it's going to be full on like don't watch this if you have not played it or you don't want to be
yeah.
spoiled.
All right, Vic. I think we talked a lot about our games this week. We're just playing other stuff going on, but let's just move on to industry news.
Yeah, man. Let's go ahead and kick that off. All right, man. If you want to kick us off here with some PlayStation industry news.
All right, so it's the theme of the industry. Layoffs, layoffs, layoffs. We don't want people working in the gaming industry, but we want to make a ton of money and we want to have really good games. I don't know how that all makes sense, but here we are. PlayStation has laid off another 900 jobs last year and then another I think it was a few hundred this year. It's PlayStation has conducted the visual arts team as well as Malaysian studios. So, one person from Naughty Dog alumni said, who now works for NVIDIA, says, some layoffs are integral to the development of games, and sometimes it really helps to move the game along because you trim out some of the fat that happens that, stuff isn't getting done. But on the flip side, the people getting let off this time, let's talk about, the games that Malaysia produced. Concord, The Last of Us Part 2 remastered. Like, it's a tough week for some of them out there, but like sometimes you're on the wrong side of a decision.
Yeah.
Whether it's yours or not, it was the project manager for a failed game.
Hmm.
But quite a few people lost their jobs though this week at PlayStation. But
Yeah.
Vic, what happened at Rockstar?
Big news for them, honestly. It's coming full circle, I guess, in a way. But they have acquired a studio that was actually founded by the director of L.A. Noire and the Getaway. So this is Video Games Deluxe. So they acquired them. Um, I'm sure it's just to help produce content for GTA 6. Like that's the only way I can really think of this. Or if they're bringing them back on and say, "Hey, I need you to make L.A. Noire 2 or a remake," I think that'd be good. Um, but yeah, I mean, just adding to a team that just they're going to need help with content. Like they're pulling in from all ends. Like they're pulling in people from Roblox because they want to turn GTA 6 into like the metaverse. Like have a type of metaverse within GTA, and they're bringing in people that
Well,
do the role playing servers into development so they can help produce tools and content for that as well. But yeah, what do you got
well,
to say?
look at the most successful games out there right now, and that's you've got uh you've got
Fortnite,
Roblox, you have
Fortnite,
Fortnite, you
Call of Duty.
have yeah. So these big games, and like Rockstar has been, they've done it for a long, long time now. We've seen GTA Line be one of the biggest success stories out there. What if they leaned more into that as a metaverse, as
Hmm.
you said? We get better quality for joining and leaving games in GTA Line. They don't take 10 minutes to join a lobby.
Yeah, yeah.
Like honestly, I think it's a really good choice, but they did get rebranded, so this studio is now called Rockstar Australia.
Hmm.
Um they worked with them on 2017 releases, as you said, for the LA Noir, Grand Theft Auto Trilogy Definitive Edition.
Hmm.
So they just said, after working together closely after many years, we're excited to have them join as Rockstar Australia.
Yeah, it's definitely dope. So we'll continue to follow this because obviously we don't know a ton about GTA 6. We just know it's supposed to be coming out this year. Um,
Hmm.
we we still need to know how they're transitioning GTA Online to the new. Like, are they doing a new map? Are they going to keep both maps? Are you carrying all your content with you? Because people have spent hundreds, thousands of dollars into their online portfolio and stuff like that. So I'm definitely curious to see how that plays, and obviously we got to see
Hmm.
like how the story is going to play out with GTA 6 and whatnot. But yeah, we got a lot to follow with that. But without further ado, we'll go ahead and move on to the gaming news. All right, kicking it off with the Xbox related news. They had a couple news highlights. Xbox Live was actually down in some locations for a very short time, but it was like inaccessible there for like an hour, give or take, for some people. I didn't have any issues here, at least here in Pennsylvania, but sucks for other people. At least it wasn't 24 hours like PlayStation was, and then you get
Hey
compensated
man,
5 days
hey,
of service.
they comped you, so I mean it's something.
I'm just trying to figure out what the non PlayStation Plus users get out of it. Nothing. So that's the
Yeah.
irritating part. But some big news though for Xbox related games is Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 is returning on July 11th with like all the old stuff and some new stuff like new parks, new skaters, new tricks, stuff like that. So that'll be awesome to see. Like I kind of fell off after 1 and 2 back in the day, but I mean Tony Hawk Pro Skater games are just huge. And they're coming to game. This one is coming to Game Pass day one, so maybe it'd be nice to hop in and bust some moves. Are you looking forward to some Tony Hawk? No.
No.
Damn.
Straight up nah.
No, no, I do want to hop in and play the like if you buy the deluxe edition, I'm sure it'll come later, but like you get the like grind on some like Doom map as the Doom guy and like you're like grinding on like a chainsaw or something like that. It's like really like dope looking, like badass. And I was like, okay. You might have sold me just to do that part and then hop out.
You're gonna do some kick-ass flips as
Darn,
Darth Maul in a haunted house.
sounds about right. But
I
another update here was for the Xbox Insider program. They had a recent update that was actually causing a major bug. This system update appears to be factory resetting consoles. This has since been fixed, but I just wanted to bring attention. Like, I wonder if anybody that really suffered from this. I'm not part of this program, so I don't really update my system through the Xbox Insider program.
mhm.
But yeah, that that would suck. Turn it on, your shit's just completely wiped. You're like, well, time
That
to
was cool,
install
I guess.
everything, I guess. But yeah, so just wanted to give highlights to that. But since that has been fixed, thankfully. Moving on to some games though for Xbox, Call of Duty Season 3 has been delayed until April 3rd of this year, and the Battle Pass has also been extended for that. Obviously, we're seeing Verdansk return to bringing back some of the OG weapons, the Kilo, the AMAX, apparently HDR Sniper. Like they're basically trying to breathe the life back into the game that all the hype that it had back in 2020 when Verdansk was at its all-time peak. But we also got to remember that was prime time pandemic moments where the only thing people had to do was play Warzone. But that is it for Call of Duty. And then Fallout 76 has a Glow of Ghoul update coming on the 18th. This is season 20, believe it or not. There's a lot going on. Let me see if I can get it up here on screen.
Well, like the first and the foremost, the biggest part about it is playing as a
It's
ghoul.
yeah. So I'm gonna get it up here on screen. There we go. So there's like a bit of a roadmap kind of.
Mhm.
So you got Goal Within in season 20, Glow of the Ghoul, and then Mothman Equinox is back in April. May has Spring is a Bloom, and then the next update in season 21 comes in June. So I still have yet to dive into Fallout 76.
Dude,
It
I'm
seems
waiting.
it
All
seems
you have to do is
interesting.
install it.
Yeah, it seems interesting. Like I just don't know how it's gonna play. Like Fallout, it's a single player game, but now it's a multiplayer game. Like, is there a story? Like,
Yeah,
I've always
that's
been like real
it's
cautious about this game because I heard it's like
treat
really
it.
resource gathering and like I don't want to do all of that. I just want to play Fallout.
Yeah, so it's definitely going to be sort of your dungeon crawling experience. Like picture your MMO experience where you go around collecting resources, working on your skills, but like you get to build your own base, decorate it and shit like that, and then you go around. It's just it honestly it's pretty interesting, but yeah, spooky. I agree with you. There's a lot of fucking survival crafting games,
Yes.
and everyone's trying to make money off of the success of the OG. But
Yeah. What did
it's
we talk about last week? Trend chasing. And there's a
trend
lot of
chasing.
lot of companies that are still trend chasing, especially with the survival craft games. And there's
Yeah.
starting to be too many of them. It's an oversaturated market now.
And the thing is, like, they're all doing the same thing, and
It's just
it's
reskinned.
we're waiting for one person to like come up with a good alternative to the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. All right, so for services from Xbox Game Pass editions, One Lonely Outpost is out now on cloud console and PC. Enter the Gungeon on March 11th on cloud console and PC. Mullet Mad Jack on March 13th, cloud PC and Series X and S. But the big one here is 33 Immortals coming out on March 18th for cloud PC and the Series X and S consoles. This one is the highly sought after indie title where you're literally playing a 33 cooperative game. I'm really looking forward to this and seeing how it plays out, honestly. I feel like a lot of people in the Lunacy Arts would look forward to this kind of game. I'm trying to think if this was actually from the developers behind Castle Crashers, if I'm not mistaken.
Which one?
Developer. Uh, 33 Immortals. They are Thunder Lotus Games. I feel like that's what it sounds like. Live live research here, guys. Live research here.
Oh, the 33 Immortals game.
Mhm.
We watched this last year at the
Yeah,
Game
it's
Awards.
one of the biggest ones that they. Oh, they're one of the other games they did was Spiritfarer, which was really good. They did Jotun, Sundered, um, yeah, a couple other indie games, but yeah, this is their next big one.
No, this game looked interesting. The fact that it's a 33 player co-op game, it's a pickup raid game where you jump in with 33 other people to do a giant raid battle.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's all about, just surviving as long as you can. It looks really good, but it's actually by the developer of Sundered, Spiritfarer, as you said, not
Mm-hmm.
not Castle
Yeah,
Crashers and
I was
them.
thinking of something
But this
else.
is this is yeah, there was another game that Castle Crasher devs released recently,
Mm-hmm.
but it has not joined Game Pass yet.
Yeah. So definitely be on the lookout for 33 Immortals.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna pick that up on Game Pass just because it's free and give it a go.
Yeah, I'm down. Games that are leaving though on March 15th: Evil West, Liza P, No More Heroes 3, Solar Ash, SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom, and Yakuza 5 and 6. So if you have not played some of these games, definitely do so. I can vouch for Evil West, Liza P, and Solar Ash. Roger, I know you can probably vouch for the Yakuza games 5 and 6, along with Liza P, because I know you were a big fan of that with me as well. But make sure you check those out before they leave in about 6 days. But yeah, man, that's all the gaming news I got out of Xbox this week. So what's going on
All
over in
right,
the PlayStation
let's
realm?
talk about Sony's gaming news. So they announced a new beta program that lets you test upcoming PS5, PC games, console changes. Just it's their insider program. You have to
Mhm.
sign up through the article through this link here. We'll share it in the chat shortly if you do care about that. But it's essentially just the PlayStation Insider. You get to decide what you would like to be an insider for, and they'll start sending you emails to opt into these things, and sometimes games. And then lastly, they've released a new controller. So it's the Last of Us controller. They had a 30-second promo video where they showed the controller. It's got pretty much the perfect Last of Us color scheme, that white and the black with the Firefly logos, and it looks so good. But
Yeah. So for
you
our
know,
audio listeners, I do got the video up on screen right now. So sorry for that. But yeah, I definitely agree. This controller looks pretty badass. Yeah, I love like the contrast too with like the bumper buttons. How like the controller body is black, but those buttons are white. That's a solid look. And then just the nice decal of like the logo and the icons from the game and the series and whatnot. So yeah, it definitely looks really
mhm.
good.
All right, so next up, let's talk about Nintendo for a second here. So Nintendo didn't really have much news this week. We just have two new games joining the Switch Online. They're already available. So the Donkey Kong for Game Boy has joined the Switch Online editions, as well as Mario's Pico Cross, which is a game that I've actually never played, but it's one of your classic like sort of puzzle games. It's almost like Minesweeper.
Yeah, I was surprised to see these ones, but I just love like Nintendo's ambition for game preservation, and like we've been talking
Hmm.
about that for many years here on the podcast, how important that is to us. But yeah, just they have over 300 and some games, and the fact that they're just adding to the collection here. I'm gonna try and get some gameplay up on Mario Picross. But yeah, like you said, it's more or less just Minesweeper, just Mario Edition.
It's mostly drawing images based on the number you're supposed to carve out of the screen. So you're drawing images is what it is. You have to carve a certain number of rows and columns based on the numbers top and left. So you have to kind of guess, you know, did you get the number right? So if there's a 5 by 5 and one tells you to, draw on 5 of the squares, so you go straight through that row or line that says 5, and then you work your way to one that says 1 or 4, and then you can kind of build your way from there. It's like Sudoku,
Yeah, no way too. Yeah,
you know, your normal puzzle games.
yeah, definitely dope.
All
Yeah, I
right,
don't
Vic,
remember that
what's
one at
going
all.
on with NetEase?
Yeah, what's not going on with NetEase? I mean, the fact that they're going to have two pretty big multiplayer games going on at one time, because they're obviously the developer with Marvel Rivals, or the publisher I should say, but publisher has also announced a last minute console delay for the new hero shooter FragPunk, which is right now available on PC. I know a bunch of guys are streaming it and playing it right now, but this for the console version has been delayed. No official date has been given to us, but the one that's speculated is May 6th is when we should see it on the console. So I'm going to be looking forward to it there. I'm really eager to dive back into it because I did get to play it both in alpha and the beta, and I had a ton of fun. And I'm looking forward to playing it. It seems like everyone that I talk to that's playing it right now is really enjoying this game. It's a lot of fun. So Roger, I'm not sure if you want to check it out one of these times, but definitely recommend
There's just too many games going on. Like
FragPunk. What are you
I'm
telling?
like I
I
have to
rarely
pick
play
one.
multiplayer games. Yeah.
Yeah, like I have to pick one, and like I only have evenings to play, and everyone else is playing another one, and I don't want to play a multiplayer game by myself. It's just
It's boring.
yeah, fuck randos, dude. Like
Hmm.
enough of them have fucked my mom that I think she's been around a lot. I guess that's what they tell me in the lobby.
Yeah. All right, man. So what's
Uh,
going on in the beloved Jackbox world?
so something interesting just happened. Jackbox decided that they're going to release the individual games from their collections, from the Jackbox collections, as apps for your TV. So a large library of their games will be downloadable and installable on your TVs, including Amazon smart TVs. You're going to be able to play on a bunch of different ones, it says. And they're individual games, not entire party packs. So be aware that like you're choosing one of the games at a time.
Yeah, and interesting enough, it says that um, they'll be available to you like with ads, but then there's going to be a paid subscription service with no ads that'll come at a later time or something like that, where it says it'll have the entire catalog of games in like one offering. And as of
Yeah.
right now, there are 53 different party games.
Yeah, and so it's not that all 53 are on the apps though. Be aware 53 party games across all all of their 10 collections,
Mm-hmm.
but they have only a select few of them.
Yep. Yeah, that was awesome to see. I just know how big Jackbox is. I mean, we used to play the shit out of it. I know a lot of guys over at Shoot to Win actually still play it a good bit as well. So it's always a nice fun game. All right, man. Let's go ahead and move on though. Some exciting news for Bloober Team. They have announced that they have signed a new deal with Konami to make a new game based on the Japanese company's IP. So I'm really curious to see what game that they end up doing. A lot of people are speculating it's Silent Hill 3 or just another Silent Hill game in general. Um, but
And
I
they're
could
the ones who did the Silent Hill 2
two
remake.
remake,
So
yeah,
let's just make sure that anyone who doesn't know out there, the developer for Silent Hill 2 remake is now going to be making another game for them.
yeah. So obviously with the success of theirs, why not sign a deal?
Hmm.
It's awesome to see because
So
like we seen them make the medium, which was like what they were doing in the
it
game
was
was really cool, but like it didn't pan out the way that it could have been. But like taking a cult classic with Silent Hill 2 and how they just really remade it from the ground up was really good, really awesome to see.
and it performed well. It wasn't like other remakes that were like pretty crummy. Like honestly, I feel as though the Silent Hill and Resident Evil remakes have been doing a really good job recently because they're reinventing or reimagining, these classics
Hmm.
in a new form, in a new spookier form, because you can really, it's less theater of the mind and more like, oh God, it really looks like I'm looking at the real thing. But
Yeah.
let's jump back into the world of hero shooters and talk about a game that's still alive, Valorant. They have their newest agent, Waylay, coming. So Waylay is an agent who's all about light. Their whole ability is first refract. Their signature ability is to be able to teleport across the map. Their second ability is light speed, which is a dash. Third is saturate. It's a not as good as a concuss, but it's a refilling debuff grenade that you can throw that causes reload speed to slow,
Hmm.
as well as your aiming speed, but it doesn't give you blurred vision. And then lastly is convergent paths, which is an after image creation thing that you choose an area, and people start seeing after images or not real use, so they have to kind of figure out who you are.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. I was like, man, it almost makes me want to hop back on Valorant because this game
Enjoy
actually seems pretty
yourself.
cool. Yeah, I'll be the only one there. Um, unfortunately, like I miss playing Valorant like every Monday that we used to for the 3 hours at a time. Like
Hmm.
a lot of great times, man. But yeah, I got the trailer playing up on screen for everybody. Right now, obviously, it's just like a cinematic trailer, kind of showcases some of the abilities and whatnot. I just I'm really curious to see how it's going to really play and like how it's going to mesh well and like comp too. That's really going to be Derp Team 6 come back. Yeah, hopefully one of these times we can hop back in and play some Valorant. That'd be fun. But Roger, what do you think about Waylay's abilities?
I don't know. I honestly, my opinions wouldn't really, I don't think matter too much in this case because I haven't played long enough, so I don't have a really good way of giving an informed opinion because I've missed what 3, 4 agents now since we last played.
Yeah, you start to see some of these trailers like, who is that person?
Yeah, who the fuck are we looking at?
It's like, oh, there's my girl Ray's. That's the only one that matters to me. That's Bay. But
Alrighty. So, Vic, what's happening at Nacon?
yeah, man, they just had their Nacon Connect event. So just gonna kind of run through like some of the announcements. First one we got here is Cthulhu: The Cosmic Abyss. It says like a nightmare from which you never awaken. Started. This was the kickoff game. It says with conflict over Earth's dwindling resources, corporations turn to the depths of the oceans, unaware of the horrors that lie beneath the surface of the waves. Hence the name Cthulhu. Edge of Memories was another one that we got to see here. It also got its first gameplay reveal. During this, the beautiful, serene landscapes of Avarice are under the threat of a powerful, corrupting influence, corrosion as it spreads across the land, mutating everything in its path into horrific abominations. Then we got to see Styx, Blades of Greed. This is another game in a long running series. It's like everyone's favorite Green Goblin is back. No, not that one. This one doesn't need a fancy metal suit to cause mayhem. A couple of quartz crystals and a trap or two will do more than enough damage. So it's awesome to see him returning in this fall. Then we got another trailer for Hell Is Us. This is the upcoming action adventure game coming right around the corner. It says the ongoing civil war has divided the country, led to the appearance of strange supernatural creatures. As our hero Remy returns to Hadia slipping through the blockade to uncover the secrets of this past. We've been seeing a lot of this at a lot of PlayStation events, but awesome to see it here at the Nacon one.
And just a friendly reminder, it is a Souls-like game in the way it plays, so it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. Next up was The Mound, Omen of Cthulhu, another Cthulhu game here. This is the next project from Chilean developer Ace Team. This was revealed there. It says, grab some friends, gear up aboard your galleon, and depart for a cursed jungle inspired by the horror stories of H.P. Lovecraft. So it seems pretty cool there. Next up, big one here that I was excited to see because I actually do want to play the actual game. But RoboCop Rogue City Unfinished Business is coming out later this year, and it's just kind of like a DLC for the game that did really well last year. What's up, Inferno? Welcome to the chat, bro. And it says, but wait, there's more. Romeo and Juliet are coming to Raven's Watch as free DLC in May. Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown is gearing up for its third season with new missions, AI difficulty options, new cars, and more on the way. Daedalic even joined the event, showcasing a few upcoming titles of their own. Check it. Yeah, there's an Xbox trailer. But yeah, man, it was a small event, but a couple of indie games, smaller AA style games. But any of these, have you excited at all, Roger?
Hell is Us looks pretty good, and also the Cthulhu game will probably help me not sleep for a while.
That's fair. That's fair. All
But
right.
yeah, no, Hell is Us has my attention, but like the fact that we have 2 Cthulian games coming out,
Mm,
Cthulhu, the Cosmic Abyss, and The Mound, Omen of Cthulhu, it's really interesting that they chose that we need 2 HP Lovecraft style games. I'm just interested to see if they genuinely do it justice because like I like the idea of Cthulhu, the Cosmic Abyss because it does visit the idea of Cthulhu, the underwater abomination, and like the entirety of that sort of ethos. Like I really want a game that like, puts you in a Cthulhu style zone but underwater where like
hmm
like truly alone. Like
Yeah. And it seems like that first one I kind of read off is going to scratch that itch, honestly. The Cthulhu, the Cosmic Abyss, because that's what it really seems like. But we'll see.
yeah, no, spooky. I agree with you there. Like Cthulhu pillaged the tabletop market for a while now, board games, RPGs, you name it, but now we're seeing it in video games. I think it's the same crowd finally going, "Oh, maybe we should use this here instead." I'm interested to see them. Like I honestly after beating what was it last year, the oil rig
Still
game.
wakes the deep.
Yeah, Still Wakes the Deep was really fascinating. I was really excited, hoping for something Cthulhuian, but
That
like
makes sense. Yeah.
just didn't get it. It just wasn't there. I just I like to I hope to see something good out of these. But
hmm
let's move on to the last two articles here. The first one being about our biggest game of the year so far, and that is Monster Hunter Wilds. It sold 8 million copies in just 3 days. That's a lot of fucking money. That's
Yeah.
$70 million times 8. What are we looking at here? One that's
$560 million, or
yeah,
something
like
like that. If I'm
we're
saying that right.
yeah. So like half a bill, that's quite a bit of money off of that right out the gate. And let's stop for a moment to also remember it isn't without its issues. Like
hmm
the game's opening week, they were plagued with a bug that literally caused people to lose their story mode progress.
hmm
It would just break the story mode. And then once the update is released, everyone will be disconnected and they have to re-download the game. And so like it was people were constantly getting kicked in and out every time they had to make a patch just to keep up with the fact that it was pretty sloppily bugged the first week, but
hmm Yeah, I remember
the
last week
sales don't
we had
reflect it.
Scott covering all of the issues and like how like some of the bugs were
Mhm.
like you could fix with a coding issue if you just swap out the word resolution or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty great.
But this game does have the fifth highest Steam record in the world. It
hmm
follows Elden Ring, Cyberpunk 2077, and Dota for concurrent players. It maxed out at 1,384,608 concurrent players on Steam alone. That doesn't account for any console. That's just on Steam. They had that many players day one.
Yeah, that's insane. Maybe it was worth the $74 and my daughter spent to accidentally buy
Maybe
it
it
for me.
was. Hey man, if you keep it and you decide you want to play, maybe I'll go
I'm
pick it up
keeping
and
it.
we
I'm not
can
gonna
play.
refund it. So, do I plan to beat it? No, but maybe I hop in now and check out what all the hype is about of a monster. Like I've never played a Monster Hunter game. Maybe I just take advantage of the accidental purchase and make the best of it.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, I know spooky. $70 games are crazy. Like you really
Yeah,
have to. It has to be good for me to want to spend the $70
yeah,
anymore, especially with a lot of them ending up on Game Pass eventually.
yeah. And like half the time, you just wait for sales and you buy them at half off, or just obviously we cover it like day in and day out. Like how many times does a game come out? It's buggy as shit, and then 6 months down the road, the game gets like 60 FPS, better 4K textures, like no more bugs. The best time to play it is now, 6 months after the fact. And now 6 months later, the game is not $70, it's $50 or $40. Like it just becomes ultimately worth it. Like I've
Mhm.
brought that up how many times in countless episodes is like buying games day one almost just doesn't make sense anymore. Like if the game's not coming to Game Pass day one, it's almost like why am I buying it day one? The
It has to be that good to buy it day one.
it's just like I'm starting to notice like if you're buying the game day one, it's like you want to be a part of that conversation that's happening now.
Mhm.
If you buy the game 6 months down the road, that conversation's not happening no more. People have already moved on to the next big thing.
It's
That too.
spoiler alert season for 6 months, and that shit sucks.
Yeah, you're like, well, I know what happened there. I mean, we're not doing the best here with spoiling the shit out of Avowed a little bit
I'm,
here.
I'm trying, but my man has too big of a mouth.
I do. That game has been so good, man, so good. Like I'm
It
thoroughly
gets a
enjoying
lot
it.
better. Honestly, our opinions have vastly changed from just a few weeks ago.
Oh yeah, yeah, without a doubt.
All right,
Oh,
so Vic, round us out.
rounding us out with some unfortunate news because I saw big things here. Respawn Entertainment has canceled an unannounced FPS game, multiplayer game, and rumor had it was either like a Titanfall Apex Legend multiplayer game of some sorts. What it was, we do not know. But Respawn does everything with a reason behind it, and I kind of just I believe them, I trust them because to be honest, I don't think they've ever released a bad game to this date. Titanfall 1 and 2, great. Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order, phenomenal. Apex Legends, we know how well that is. I know Inferno in here would say otherwise some days. I know you play that game a lot and you're hoping for some big changes to the game, but they've just never missed. Obviously, they have a Star Wars RTS in the works. Then the next Star Wars Jedi game, the end of trilogy is in the works. They just have a lot going for them. So maybe they just had to cut back and consolidate the teams as well, because we obviously see the incurring and the increasing costs of development too. But Roger, are you sad to see them cancel an unannounced FPS game?
I got too many FPS games to play, my man. Like,
Yeah.
I'd be excited if it was a new Titanfall, because I probably would have gotten it. Because like I did like it for a little bit there, but I felt like I came in too late to really enjoy the game.
Mhm.
Because by the time I got there, everyone's like, doing triple backflips and like upside down somersaults and then fucking me up, across the map. And I was like, I don't even know how to grappling hook yet. Please, I'm new.
Yeah. Titanfall 2's multiplayer peak like at launch was just one for the records. Like I literally didn't play the story mode for like 5 years or whatever it was until I finally played the story mode. But it's like multiplayer. That was fire. It was definitely fire.
Hmm.
Just like the
Well, and
combination of the
single player
mechs and then
was the
like man.
multiplayer,
Well, no, that
like
was in the first game. The first game
I know.
was how that was, and that was a cool concept. It just didn't work that well. Because I just feel like it just didn't hit. Like the story just felt really didn't really feel like a story. It just felt like you're just playing TDM 10 times, and the story had it. Like we've seen that with Exo Primal. Like Exo Primal was trying to tell a story, but like by you playing multiplayer games.
Yeah.
So it had like a really weird feel. Not my cup of tea when trying to tell a story, but here
Mhm.
nor there. But yeah, Disney, you did jump in a little late. We talked about Split Fiction at the very beginning, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, man, that is all the gaming news we got this week. You got any last thoughts before we do close out the episode?
No, honestly, enjoy your games, guys. The season has just started. Get your avowed done quickly. Get your get your
I'm
shit done
trying,
because
man.
games are gonna rev up here soon.
I got Assassin's Creed Shadows in 11 days. I still want to get through Split Fiction. I got to get through Lost Records, Bloom and Rage, Tape 1. Um I'm still playing through a couple other games on Game Pass as well, but yeah, never ending. And that's to say the least. But yeah, man, let's go ahead and shout out everyone who came through and checked us out live today here on Twitch, and anyone who does check us out later on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. But Roger, where can the community find you at?
Hey, I'll be here on Discord and on the podcast on Sundays, but maybe I'll go back to Twitch sometime.
One day,
One
he
day.
shall return. But yeah, guys, check me out at Twitter at Mr. Never Chillin _. Threads is Mr. Never Chillin. Xbox is X Never Space Chillin. If you own a game, party up, hit me up there. I do play on PlayStation from time to time, and that's VBrewT4. And Facebook is Vic Brubacher for any questions, concerns, or if you want to come on the show, hit me up there. And if I am going to stream, it's going to be at twitch.tv / Mr. Never Chillin. So make sure you follow me on all those. But we do want to thank everyone again. Until next time, peace.
Press start podcast.